So as you folks have probably heard, the president is pushing forward on fast-track authority. And what fast-track authority is a vehicle for the president of the United States, any president, to basically move through trade deals, right, where Congress can only give an up and down vote on the actual trade deal. And there's no vetoes, they can't do line-by-line vetoes, they can't amend, whatever. So as part of that, and so the one reason why the president wants fast-track authority is because he wants to use fast-track authority to push through the TPP, which is the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is basically a trade deal that would exist between the United States and the Asian Rim countries. So the bill has passed the United States Senate. It passed right before they went out on recess. But one poison pill, well, I would argue it's not necessarily a poison pill. I think it's a great thing, but to the White House it's a poison pill, is one of an amendment that was put in that basically is an anti-slavery provision that says you cannot trade with a country that believes in slavery or that, uses slave labor to produce goods and goods and services for the marketplace. Now, this should be a commonsensical thing, right? Like, didn't we abolish slavery in this country in the 1880s? 1860s rather, and we pushed South Africa to do the same thing. Like, isn't our world moving forward? Right? Like, this should be a simple novel. It should be a bipartisan ideal. Well, that's not the case. Paul Ryan, who's marshaling the passage of fast track in the House of Representatives, is going to try to remove the slave provision because the White House, more than anything else, and their Republican buddies on this one, want to make sure that Malaysia, who believes and slave labor is legal and slave labor produces goods, right, who believes in slave labor, they want to make sure Malaysia is part of the trade deal. And now this is the one caveat I'm making, not because the president is endorsing slavery, even though functionally he sort of is. It's because the Malaysia basically controls the Straits of Malacca. And the Straits of Malacca is a major trading transport area. You need those straits to get goods to and from the market. So without Malaysia in the deal, they cannot transport the number of goods that they need to, to get to market. So they want Malaysia in at all costs, even though Malaysia believes in child labor and slave labor. So they're going to try to take it out the bill, and that's what Paul Ryan's going to do. And they're going to attach it to a customs bill, which would basically stop countries who are, doing bad things when it comes to tariffs. That they think will help Democrats come on board. And also, the other way to get Democrats to come on board on this piece of legislation is they're going to put in what we call trade adjustment assistance monies. And what trade adjustment assistance money is in a nutshell is basically saying, we know this bill is so bad that we know we're going to lose American jobs. And because we're going to lose American jobs, we're going to give you guilt money so you can go on and retrain yourself. Or as the labor movement likes to call it, the funeral money. Here's some money because you're dead. Here's your life insurance money because we've killed your job. Now, fast track in itself is a bad ideal because basically it allows a bill to go through in the cloak of night, in secrecy, in total darkness, without the American people getting to see it. That is an affront to our democracy and our Republican government. Point blank, period. Number two, trade deals like these hurt the American worker while benefiting the workers all across the globe besides here in America. Think about NAFTA. Mexico benefited from NAFTA. The United States suffered. Because even though goods and services were cheaper coming into the United States, folks in America couldn't afford it because they didn't have a job. So, it's not that trade is a bad thing, America. Trade is a great thing. When trade is done responsibly, when trade is done fairly, and when trade is done where people aren't, engaging in slave labor. But clearly, Republicans in Congress have missed that memo, and for them, it is perfectly okay to enslave your citizens, in a nutshell.